Welcome to the Limitless Business Owners Podcast. This is episode 1. This is the ground floor. This is the foundation for what Dan and I plan on bringing you guys on a week-to-week basis. Like I said, this is my business partner, Dan. My name's Andrew. We're super, super excited to be here with you guys and on this journey with you. Dan, how's Pittsburgh?
Man, it's another typical Pittsburgh day. Maybe I should say Pittsburgh gray. It is, overcast, but soon to be a Denver day where it is 300 plus days of sunshine. Maybe that's something we can go over later in a couple podcasts, but either way, sure. It's for sure another day, and I'm excited to get this podcast rolling.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Yeah. Here in St. Louis, it's raining right now. So it's overcast. So we're feeling the Pittsburgh gloom.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now. And, so I'm surprised, heck, we might even have snow next week and then it'll be 80 the next day, kind of crazy, but we're actually headed out to Gatlinburg this weekend with the family. So we're super, super excited to kind of disconnect, be in the mountains, no Wi-Fi. So I'm leaving you hanging. We're going to,
that's what it's all about, man. Yeah. You're going to launch this thing and then I got to deal with all the criticism that comes with it.
Right. I'll
no, it'll be awesome. You'll have a great time.
Yeah, no, we're excited bringing the little one, so it's going to be a fun time. We kind of have a few things planned, but no, I mean this podcast, naming it Limitless, it's something that's near and dear to I know myself and Dan, where we want to help business owners create a limitless life. That's what this podcast is all about. A life of true, helping you guys build a life of true freedom, and that starts with creating a limitless business. So Dan, I don't know if you want to hop in, kind of tell people a little bit, why we created this, how we got to this point, so on and so forth.
Sure. I guess I'll start with, where I came into just getting to know Andrew and a little bit, maybe even before that. So yeah. I'm what they call a serial entrepreneur. I've gone through, before I was an entrepreneur, I was numerous jobs. Was never fired, but I had 31 jobs. And then at age 30, I did find out that I was diagnosed with ADD. So that was maybe a telltale after 31 jobs there. Along those 31 jobs, I've had a lot of trainings and a lot of education that came along with it. Something that a lot of people don't even get to experience is just so many industries worked. I mean, I was anywhere from a news reporter to, owning a carnival game, which is, they all have interesting stories in between. I
haven't heard that story yet. Let's save that one for episode 2 or something.
Absolutely. Yeah. We will. Yeah. And myself and my brother, Rob, were actually part of that. So we have some good stories with that. But yeah, so every time you go to a different job, you're getting this education and you're in a vehicle that's actually training you to, work their job as the best way you can. And that's what my focus was, is to go in, be the best I could at a certain position, right. And not really necessarily pay attention about past jobs or anything like that. I was just focused, focused, but not focused. And then, comes, what was it? 2019. I had a really good sales job. I was doing really good, oversold my quota to the point where they actually redid my quota.
Wow.
And I was like, you know what? I can't stand for this. So I left, and I strategized to leave. I didn't just leave, all of a sudden. I started a business in fitness marketing and went into different niches as well. But what I was doing was really waking up at 4:00, working till about 8. Then I'd go to my job. I'd work. I remember going to my truck on work hours, or maybe some work hours, but also lunch hour. And then I would, I go into all my meetings in my truck. And then after that, I go into 5 or 6 o'clock when I'm driving home and hit more meetings.
Do some more.
And that allowed me to leave my job finally.
Okay. All those extra hours, the early mornings, your lunchtime that wasn't lunchtime, it was work time, and then the evening was work time.
Yeah, I knew I needed to do something different. I knew I needed to, I couldn't fit it in during work hours for the most part because, I'm trying to still maintain a good image while I'm, planning my leave there essentially.
Absolutely.
So I was working around it, but it gave me the ability, it is true when you start listening to people, and doing things that people aren't doing, like waking up at 4 a.m. or working during your lunch, you start to do like extraordinary things.
Yep.
So yeah, that led me to starting a business with a partner of mine before. We went through a couple different niches, real estate, fitness, and then we finally figured out that financial advisors really are a blue ocean opportunity for marketing.
Yep.
And so that's where we landed. After a couple years there, joined a group with Anthony Hudson called Create Your Confident, and that's where I met Andrew. And Andrew, I'll have you explain how the group kind of came together, because I think it's really cool. I mean, it's been your brainchild for a long time.
Yeah, it's something I've sat on. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Not that Dan isn't, but Dan pushed me to start. I showed him some files I had that I wrote up a year and a half ago. He was like, "Dude, you've had all these this whole time. You haven't done it." It's like, yeah, man.
It's basically created already.
Right. So, Dan and I met in Confident. Great group. A lot of awesome guys in that group. But, yeah, I mean, this journey that we're on, we launched a business owners group called Limitless Business Owners, which is the name of the podcast as well. And inside this group, it is made for business owners to come in and learn, connect, network. Dan and I both have an online marketing and advertising background, and I can go into my history here in a little bit, but this group is built for elite business owners to be able to come in, to keep them on that track, because there's so many things as a business owner we have to deal with, right? And it's easier to get caught up in the day-to-day, and then we lose focus of, hey, how do I level up? How do I take care of me? How do I keep the right perspective? How do I learn the right things to be able to reach that next stage, that next level, right? And it's everything we all want. We as a business, we all want to create that life. We have this certain picture in our head where we're like, hey, I want to reach that. And it's not always money controlled or money based, but it's typically about freedoms. It's like, hey, I want to get out of my 9 to 5. I don't want to have to work 16, 17, 18-hour days. Dan can talk, he just talked about that. He talked about how he got this off the ground, how he became what I would consider an elite business owner. If you will get to know Dan, stand up guy, a leader, someone that is creative, someone that just gets stuff done. I mean, he pushed me to do this, and I was like, dude, I want you to be a part of this.
Apparently messy action is my forte.
Yeah, well, it's like a perfect storm.
And planning is not, which is what you're really good at.
Yeah. So it's a perfect storm for us to be working together and bringing this to business owners. And we created this podcast to teach you guys the certain mindsets, the strategies. We go deeper into our group, right? And that's where a lot of the true power, where you can really tap into the potential. But this podcast, we're still going to be bringing certain mindsets. We're going to have guests on the show. We have an awesome, we're already talking to some awesome people to bring on, and just that are even further than us, right? That can really help you guys. Real life business owners, we're going to bring on people that we know that have grown amazing businesses and are just amazing people. And then we're going to teach you guys some of the strategies and tactics that you need to succeed in today's business landscape, which you need online, Yep. That's where so many people are going wrong right now. In online's a different beast. It's kind of like whenever 2000 hit and not a lot of people had websites. It's like you set yourself apart by having a website. Well, guess what? Now everyone has a website. So how are you going to set yourself apart? It's these other things, other online things that we'll be diving into. We wanted to give you guys the playbook, right? We wanted to come on here and be a true resource, give you guys advice that you guys can actually relate to, get into the nitty gritty details. Like, we're not going to be interviewing a bunch of people that are at $100 million. Like, we want to interview the people that are in the middle of it, that are experiencing the challenges. We're in the middle of it in our businesses. We're going to be bringing things, but there's going to be people that are right ahead of us, and even might be behind us too, that can still bring great perspective. And for you to say, man, I beat that and I overcame that. And our whole job on this podcast is to, inspire you guys to shift your perspective and also bring you hope. So super, like I said, we're super excited to have this.
And yeah, I don't want to go too far ahead without you being able to kind of go over where you come from. Like, first of all, I met Andrew through that group, like I said, but also where we really started clicking is, first of all, we started networking together, just kind of hanging out. And we realized we're in the same interests. But then he started working for my company, and he's a master at working the data that comes from Facebook ads. So we were actually, clients and business people at that point, and it just kind of grew into that. But I see that the raw talent is there, and he has so much more to offer, and he's scaled businesses from, and I'll have him go right into detail, but man, the things are just so impressive that you've done so far.
Oh, I appreciate that, Dan. Yeah. Likewise, I think it's a scenario, and this is, guys, we met in a group, this was a group. It's actually a pretty intimate group. It's not everyone gets into this group, and Dan and I clicked, and like Dan said, it started off as like, hey, you could do Facebook ads. I've been through about 20 of them the past year. They all screw me over. They're all really bad. And, so I hopped on and, we got some things dialed in for them and, still not complete. That's the great thing about online is things change every week. Strategies change all the time. And, we want to bring you guys that too. We want to keep you guys on the forefront of that, as well, but yeah, I can go a little bit of my backstory. So I can start back at college because I actually have a biology degree. So and Dan, you could probably see that in how I operate with ads and kind of how I operate. I'm very scientific process, test things, understand results, gather data, go back, adjust, adapt, so on and so forth. But it's just inside of me. And I really didn't get involved in business. So I actually left a job I actually had where I was in a cancer research lab. I left that job. I was making good money. I actually took about a $5 an hour pay cut to go run a baseball facility with a brilliant business person, not just baseball mind, but business person called Balls and Strikes. And I got to, that's really what ignited my passion for business, getting to see the inner workings. And there's just an excitement, right? It's like, we got to figure this out today. How do we get people in the door? Oh wait, we have this problem. How do we figure it out? Which, so I was in that role for about a year, and got to think of some cool things, got to learn a lot. It was a big learning. I wasn't ready for it. I was never a manager or anything before, and I got thrown right into being a facility manager, which gives you the fast track to learning leadership, fast track to, it's sink or swim.
Yeah, that's like a gift though, getting that kind of lesson like that.
Absolutely. And so early, everyone told me not to, like, hey, don't go take that job. Don't do it. You're making less money, but it was something that was inside of me. It actually led me to start my first business. Paid a lot of money. I went to school again, right? I paid a lot of money. Well, so what I'm saying is that I paid a lot of money to learn mistakes. So I actually built out a $15,000 sports platform. I had no idea what I was doing. I hired developers, went $15K in the hole, which that was 6-7 years ago. I just paid that off just now. So,
hey, but that's still a good achievement.
I learned so much in business, in just kind of the startup phase. Obviously that business didn't make it. I'm not doing it anymore. And then from there, I went to, took what I learned and I wanted to elevate, so I actually took a sales role down at an outdoor power equipment company selling zero turns, quickly moved up to sales manager, quickly moved up to operations manager, helped them scale, hit a lot of goals. They were already doing $2-3 million. We got it up to $8-9 million, implementing key processes, key systems. Another brilliant business mind that I got to just learn from and be under. Inside of that, I started my second business, which failed as well. But it got better, right? So I lasted longer, and I made some money until I made a mistake up front that cost me too much. And it just wasn't a passion of mine, but it was an experiment, right? So, which led me to start, I learned ads in the process, and started in funnels and all this the online world that we will teach you guys. But which led me to starting Insight, which we do ads and funnels and all the fun stuff, helping people get more clients and customers. And that's been a journey as well. That wasn't like I started it and then boom, we made it. I shouldn't say I hired. I took on wrong clients up front to learn my niche. And Dan, I know you can relate to that. You kind of jump
absolutely
niche to niche until you kind of figure it out. And here we are. Here we are. A lot of experiences we've learned from several business owners. Dan, you had 31 jobs. You learned. You acquired skills like crazy, right?
Right.
Along that process, and that was the same thing for me. Is those skills that are necessary. Honestly, seeing the struggles some of these business owners go through, even at 5 billion, 6 million, 7 million revenue, right? There's still struggles. Like there's still real stuff happening. It's not like, hey, this dude's driving a Bentley around with, there's real struggles that happen and managing the mindset portion of it. I knew that was my role, was being, the enforcer, right? Making sure that we do the right things to grow to the next level. And that's exactly what we plan on doing here. So now that you know a little bit about us, our passions and purpose, and we have stories on stories, it's like, our passions and purpose is to help business owners unlock that true potential,
right.
To tap into maybe what they can't see yet. Maybe maybe they've had glimpses of it, but the challenges that come with it have brought them down a little bit. Or, maybe they've plateaued, whatever else, but our passion is to help every single business owner that we can bring value to almost anyone. We are always thinking of ways, hey, how can we bring value in this situation? Right. So,
I was going to say, some of the leading things that I see people get held back by is just fear itself. It's just like, on every level, like it's fear to do different things on different levels. For example, like if you're thinking about starting a business, you don't know when to pull the trigger. Or if you're at the 100K mark, you're like, when do I make my first hire? When you're at the 500K mark, you're like, okay, I got a small team. Yep. Do I have the right people? And then you're afraid to fire someone maybe at that point. And then when you're at 1 million plus, you're starting to get, now you have to deal with, you're managing a team and it's pretty lonely up there. So like, now you have the fear of making decisions and are you right? And you're second guessing yourself. And then at 10 million plus, you could be doing everything right there. And then just like Andrew said, like if you aren't leveraging yourself online, like you're never going to get to that next level.
Yeah.
So, and we've seen it. We've seen, like, when we announced this group, I didn't expect it, to be honest with you, but there was excitement on all levels. It wasn't just the people that are going to be starting a business. It wasn't the people that were, just started a business and it's just starting to take off. It was the people that have had businesses and have been successful previously. And they were like, dude, I could definitely use this. I would love to learn how to podcast. I'd love to learn how to make a funnel, follow up, etc. So I just wanted to throw that in there because I think a lot of people will hear this and be like, is this something for me? Is this a podcast that I really need? And it's like, we're going to bring so many angles that it's going to include, all the ways to get to the top. So it'll bring the people from the bottom up to the level that you need to be.
Yeah. This is supposed to be a dose, right? Like it's like a weekly dose for you guys, for business owners. And like I said, it's like Dan. It's funny that Dan talks about fear because I like it. That was me.
It's everyone.
I sat on stuff, man. Like I had it built out and I sat on stuff, and Dan kicked me in the pants a little bit. Dan said, let's go. You can do this. Which is an attractive thing. And it's like, yeah, well, then I want you to be a part of it, because, so much to give to others, but that's where our hearts are at. It's like, hey, we can,
right.
And even inside of our Limitless Business Owners group, there's weekly live streams. We're going to have guests on, special guests. It's going to be we got to talk about taxes. We have, someone that can talk about mindset. We have someone that can talk about, scaling. We have something to talk about leadership, like from all these different angles that make up your business owner journey. And a lot of the things that you guys know that you guys want to enhance and grow in, we're going to come from those angles. And even on this podcast, we're going to come from those angles. Special guests that can talk into each one of those things. Imposter syndrome, fear, like we're going to be hopping into these things. You may be thinking like, what in the hell is a sales funnel? We're going to teach you, on this podcast, we're going to teach you that, and then in the group, you can see how the inner workings of all of those things are done, So like I said, we're really, really excited for this journey. We're dropping a new episode every single Thursday. Okay, so you can expect a Limitless Business Owners Podcast episode to drop every single Thursday on all the platforms, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook. And, every single podcast you can expect to hear, like we're going to interview, you can hear from other real life, like it's not just the Dan and Andrew show, it's like, we're going to have we're like, how do we bring resources in? And we're working at whatever angle we can to bring those resources in on our side, where you can hear about the real scenarios. We're also going to bring some people in that are at the top of the top, right? And, that can really inspire you. Like, man, he made it. Look at all the challenges he overcame. I'm going through that same thing. That means I could, yes, you can get there, and you're going to hear real life stories. You're going to hear struggles. You're going to hear years of struggles. These people that you might see that you would classify as overnight successes that have actually been in the trenches for 15 years. We're going to bring those people on. We're going to talk about their journeys, and it's going to give you motivation to keep on going and things like that.
I would say, if I had this whenever I was starting my business, I would have been, I could have skipped some failures that I've gone through. Now I learned from those failures and basically I was able to make it, but what it does is it shortens the time to get to that point. If you go through something and you have a amazingly fast growth, you almost have to look at it as a more of a cautious point of view, because you have to understand that if you grew really quickly, you miss some steps in between. The only way you can hack that is if you have someone that's been there. And they have to be someone that's been there fairly recently. For example, I can learn from Grant Cardone, right? But I can't necessarily apply what he does because he's a billionaire. I can apply some of the things, but I can't necessarily apply like working with a 100 to 200 person team. So maybe I need someone more on my level that I can relate to. And then I could take those certain situations, learn from them, and not have to go through that failure. So that's exactly where we see this going.
Yeah. And, even to that effect, you can help people too. That's the goal of this. This isn't, and there's a saying like, you get what you give, and it's really important to put you in a mindset of like, hey, how can I help someone? How can I be that? And, as a business owner, we have some things that we can all relate to. And I know for most business owners, they have it in their heart to, hey, I want to help the person that's below me. And maybe I'm doing something that this person to my right, right next to me, isn't doing, but then they can help me with this. And then that's how you experience and I hate it's so corny, but like hyper growth. I mean, really it is like hyper growth. Yeah. And I can echo the same thing. I wish I would have known a lot of these things. It would have saved me a lot of money. Like I said, I just, after 6-7 years, I had a personal loan for my business mistakes and I just paid it off. And granted, it's because I learned, right? And I got to make enough money to pay those off now. But I could have avoided that. I probably could have got to this point faster, which means, and this is something people don't understand, if I would have reached this point 2 years ago, where would I be today?
Right.
And that's really, really important. So, and too many people get complacent, it's like they don't think about that. And that's not to make you, bring you shame or kind of like you need to be further, that, shame on you for not getting further. That's not this at all. This is simply, think about what could be and let's get there together,
And challenge yourself. Complacency is so dangerous, man. Like so many people are chasing comfort, right? So like if you're chasing comfort, to me, that sounds like complacency. Whenever you talk to someone and you're like, how much money do you want to make? And they say, oh, well, enough to be comfortable. And comfortable is relative. And then let's say you get to comfortable and something serious happens. Then what? You gotta start being resourceful, or you go into depression and you blame yourself.
Yeah.
So like chase that discomfort feeling, man. And that's where just push each other, like be a network together and be able to just hold each other accountable, because we do kind of get complacent every now and then, but we really shouldn't.
It creeps up on you. It really does.
It really does.
And that's the power of, having someone in your ear every week. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the power of being a group is you can, when that does start to creep up, you can catch it early and say, no, snap out of it. And so much of it is mindset. What you think, hey, to grow my business, I need to work longer and work harder. It's like, no. Sometimes to grow your business, you actually need to take a step back, take care of some things in your head, and it's going to propel you further, faster.
Right.
And it's not always, I got to grind through it. I got to work harder. I got to, the typical things that hard workers and elite people are like, I'm going to go through that brick wall. I'm the biggest example of that. I'm like, you know what? Well, I'm just going to grind through it. It's like, no. Let's think about this. Maybe there's something inside me that's blocking me from experience that. And when I start taking care of myself, I start taking care of my mindset, start putting myself around the right people, growth happens like way faster. But
Dan, and the surprising amount of people on the top want to pull you up. If they see themselves in you, they want to do everything they can to help you, and that's like no fees. Like they want to do that just because that's who they are. They know where they remember where they started, and they want to just give some assistance to you.
And that's the misconception people have about people at the top.
Yep.
Is that they're money hungry, jerks.
Right.
Like, no. The most of them got there because they have the right values and the right principles. And you haven't seen how many people they've actually helped. And man, it's just funny because you get what you give, right? So those people understand that it's seriously a superpower for your business. You get what you give,
right.
So you put the time in, it's gonna happen. You give to others, it's gonna be given back to you in some way, So, and that's the power of this podcast. That's the power of this group. So if you're interested in hopping in the group, you can find the link in our bio for each of the podcasts, whatever platform you're on, and you can hop in that way. But in terms of podcasts, we're going to be bringing fire. I can't tell you how excited I am. Just some of the conversations we've had with some of the people, and some of the networks we're kind of tapping into right now. There's some awesome people. I even just think of a couple of my friends, that I know that have started awesome business. I'm like, man, I can't wait. I can't wait to talk to them and have them get into some of the nitty gritty and teach on our podcast. It truly is going to be a blessing to so many people, so many business owners. Whether you're Dan's covered. Whether you're at the bottom and like you're aspiring, you're like, man, I don't know what to do. This is going to help you. Whether you're someone that's already at 10 million in revenue, this is going to help you. You're going to be reminded of the basics. You're going to be reminded of perspectives, things that, man, okay, I need to do that. I need to implement that. And it's going to help you just rocket ship up.
Yeah. And I'm going to add one thing onto that is, so our some people might be wondering if it's like industry specific. And the reason it isn't is because you have the tendency to learn from people in different industries a lot more, because they can come in and give you a different perspective that you never even thought of. For instance, my wife left from a speech pathology background to come and work for my business, which is in financial marketing. And she came over and within the first week gave 4 to 5 really great ideas, because we are so involved in our business that we only see it from a certain level. And whenever you get someone that's in the different perspective like that, you get a different paradigm. You get a paradigm shift essentially, and they're the catalyst for change. So when you combine different industries, but you guys are all business owners, that gives you a huge network to bounce ideas off of, and then you grow entirely from.
Absolutely. That's we have construction guys that own construction companies, guys that do coaching, guys that, run companies you probably never even thought would have existed before,
Yep.
that you were learning from. It's like, oh, I need to take that principle and
right.
But, no, I mean, this is the place for any business owner, the real life, everyday, business owners that want to create a limitless life. And to do that, you got to build a limitless business. And there's just some things that you got to learn on the way. And we're going to bring those up to you. Dan, any parting words of wisdom from Dan?
Man, I'm just excited.
I mean, you've already brought so much wisdom.
It's like
on this.
bring a guy with ADD and you'll get like 70 different podcast ideas from it. But no, I'm excited for it. I can tell that already we're going to be giving a lot of value. Like people will say, like, even if I just help one person, it's like, oh, we've already helped one person. We want 1,000. So, we want to continue to help people. And I think that's one of my biggest passions. So yeah, this is a super exciting project for us.
Love it. I love it. Well, we're excited to be here with you guys. Excited to be here on this journey with you, your success journey, your business owner journey. Like I said, if you're interested in joining our group, our inner workings, where you can actually ask Dan and I any questions that you have inside that group, connect even deeper. Like I said, you get access to we have a little online advertising course, some business basics course. We're bringing some people in that can teach taxes, that can teach mindset. We already have some stuff on that, but these guys are heavy hitters, man. And, just a great community. Like I said, weekly live streams that are exclusive. It's not our podcast. These are exclusive trainings where we're digging in deep, showing you kind of behind the curtains view on some of our stuff and how we do things. And honestly, the biggest thing is just being in a group and networking with other business owners. Like, look what's come out. Dan, when did we start? We had that conversation late last week. Less than a week ago, we're like, we're going to start a podcast.
Yeah, it was about a week ago.
And we started when we're like, let's do it next week. Let's start it ASAP, And then we had a time crunch because I'm going out of town. So we're like, yeah. So super, super excited. Can't wait for it. But yeah, next Thursday will be another episode of Limitless Business Owner Podcast. Talk to you guys soon.